Hello and welcome to another video of Pure Legacy Future Innovators. Today we will be doing the oil pumping unit. We are now working on the 501c3 to be Carter County Future Innovators, but feel free to follow us on Twitter at TNFutureInnovators19 or just Google search Pure Legacy Future Innovators to find our Facebook platform and much more. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to switch this out and see how this other camera angle my buddy Jerry had told me about using the 0.5x. It is also basically 1 a.m., 20 minutes till. So a lot of times I find my creativity late at night, and it's definitely fun to do when you can't sleep. So we got the instructions. I'm going to kind of show those there. Put that to the side. Let me find one of my spare. Nope, it's already got a screwdriver in here. I built up a decent little collection of the screwdrivers, which works perfect for having extras for any events or tutoring. And all of our videos are free, of course. So definitely check out the channel on any way. You can find the videos on Facebook, on Twitter, or just use the links for going to YouTube. Now I'm definitely interested to see how this one would work, because I wouldn't mind seeing how I could convert this to use for plants as like a small drip system, which I plan on trying to anyways. So we'll definitely take a look there. One thing I've been working on remembering is telling everyone, always watch my videos through ahead. There is some to where I got ahead of myself and had to improvise. And if you see, the RC motors are magnetic. One thing is what I was about to say is on the screws, I always try to put them somewhere to where they don't fall into my carpet like this one currently did. There it is. So I always try and find a spot, and like the bag that it comes in, set it off to the side and just set your screws there. Let me see here if I can get a better angle at this without. There we go. Well, maybe. All right. No, this is not one to hold. I need to find the overhead one, because this one wants to kind of lean forward. Let's see here. Just move this stuff over. And, well, yeah, I guess that works. You just see my energy drink. Might see my dog every once in a while run up wanting attention. I'm gonna go ahead and set these screws and small parts over to the side. Yes, I guess this. And then kind of just put the parts, larger parts here. You'll see on these, and I need to find a better way to show these. This might work. So on those on and off switches, you want to make sure, whether it's one of these projects or definitely doing your own DIY, on the on and off switches, it has the two bottom, or has the two posts that you can see. And so on the post, each wire is individually, just put that through the center. I sometimes use masking tape with my projects, whether it be video or whether it be in general, which, speaking of that, I need to potentially grab some, but I don't know where I put that one. Eventually I needed to start playing slow music in the background off of our DIY speaker we built. But one moment while I try and find the masking tape. left it in my office. I call this my creator space, or, you know, in certain senses, like at universities, they always called it a maker space, but that was a large room. But yeah, masking tape's always good for the wiring. Reason being, it's easier to take off than electric tape without, you know, just completely destroying it. These wiring on these are extremely thin. They're kind of similar, and for anyone watching, whether it be parents, you know, older siblings, a good way to find electrical tape for your projects, like let's say you're doing DIY projects, I recommend honestly the Dollar Tree. Reason being is their wiring is very thin. It is very much like these, to where you can easily pinch it, and you know, instead of having to use like a knife or a razor blade or something like that, it is definitely a easy option for using wiring that's very easy to use. It's not as dangerous, definitely with like younger kids. Some of your thicker wiring can definitely poke up underneath your fingers. Now this wiring, you know, and the same with the Dollar Tree, of course it still can, but it's not as prone to. And so I don't think that I'll be using this, but I'm just gonna set it to the side. If you can't see any of these, I apologize. Currently working on moving. So this, a lot of this stuff has been, you know, moved around and different stuff. And if you notice with these small ones like that, you gotta be very careful. They can easily break. And so sometimes I will take the screwdriver and just do that, because it's easier to apply like a light amount of pressure. If you happen to have a garden or plants, these little wood pieces are always good to just, you know, which I guess this would be for any parents watching, those wooden pieces are always good to just throw in with mulch, you know, just break it up and stuff. It's always about recycling, you know, doing better for the environment. I'm definitely planning on getting into some more projects involving DIY, you know, indoor plants, outdoor plants, and the agricultural stuff. I've built greenhouses. I know how to build DIY solar systems to where, I mean, you can actually have your own energy storage, and a lot of other stuff. So I want to get into that. Been a little overdue on completing this set of projects. So if you look through the videos, they're kind of sporadic. That's just, you know, with life being life. You know, a lot of things happen, come up, a lot of chaos. But in general, definitely looking at getting back into these more often. I've got a few brilliant young gentlemen in their teenage years. I mean, you know, to say gentlemen is just the, I mean, they are. They're, you know, two of them are brothers. They're extremely smart. They're extremely talented in many ways. Another gentleman I met at the car show, I want to say he's maybe somewhere between 13, 15. I don't really remember age. He was extremely brilliant also. And so I'm definitely looking at getting involved with working with them to do more projects to where, you know, more videos can be made, because Lord, they're at my level at a lot of this building stuff. They can, I mean, it's very impressive at the stuff that I've seen them build, and the ways that they speak at a very more intellectual standing than what you would imagine with their age, and the projects that they've built at home and stuff. And I really hope that was supposed to come out, but I don't see it not. It wasn't meant to. And see, this one right here is a very, very hard position. So I'm gonna leave the larger one there and then reinforce everything around and just get these little ones out to avoid breaking them. Not for sure what these are going to be used for, so I'm interested to see. This is definitely more of a one of the more a project I've noticed. I mean, I don't ever really recall any parts similar to this or of this quantity. And the same thing here. See, I mean, this stuff just breaks easy. So a lot of times you can just easily support around and stuff, but awesome. And anytime there's quiet spots, you know, always kind of like, you know, fast forward a little bit. Sometimes I don't talk as I'm thinking through. I use this phone to record, and then this also helps with having extra storage space. And I use my other phone for music and my headphones, just so that way I, you know, I guess in a sense, ain't driving myself crazy, just sitting there thinking. But let's take a look here, and we'll start off. There's 2 pages, so we're going to start off obviously with this one for step 1. The other page is more in depth. Probably need to grab that cup. It's going to be in my office in the storage bins for these. But I'll grab that once we get there. It'll be a good pause point for this. I always try and pause and then edit the videos into shorter, you know, edit out any quiet spots. But yeah, I talked a little bit more on this one, but took a decent bit. So let's take a look here. And if you notice, you've got a decent amount of these. I always, you know, of course, again, recommend for, you know, parents, siblings, or anyone in general that's going to be doing these, you know, send us a video of the build, or, you know, or anything like that, or the after, just a picture. But while you're watching this, if you're using this as step-by-step, definitely on this one, probably because it's it looks like a lot of steps. The directions aren't always the clear, you know, a clear description on previous ones. You know, each one could be different. A lot of times I look at the visuals of it to see how it sets and lines up. But with that being said, always watch forward through my video and then rewind back, just because sometimes I get ahead of myself and everything. So let's see here. We've already got step 1 done. And then step 2, straight into install the ship type switch. I wonder why they call it a ship type switch on this switch slot of the plate. So basically, we're gonna kind of look at the picture, set this here, and then you see that the switch is at the top. So I'm just gonna flip this over. There we go. And so as they call it, the ship type switch. And if you look, it's got the O to the left, other one to the right. And so let's set that there. Sometimes, you know, I'll get and use these. And just be careful in pushing these through. This one, like, it looks like it should go in farther, but it doesn't need to. It's right where it needs to be. And so I'll set stuff like that. And let's see here. So then we're going to be flipping this over. And see, here's where it gets kind of interesting. It's got the 2 wires that are black, but then it shows us red. So let me take a look here. I see the extra black wire here, but I only see that one. So it says first put the heat shrinkable tube on the black wire and 10cm black wire of the battery box, and then connect the black wire core of the battery box to the metal strip of to the metal sheet strip, or metal sheet of ship type switch. See, the way it looks here is almost like there's 2 pieces of wire in that, because like one looks just as long, unless my assumption is going to be that, so it has the battery box like this in the photo. And it says first put the heat shrinkable tube on the black wire and 10cm black wire on the battery box. So looking at it visually, it looks like the black wire from the battery box is going to go to one, and the other black wire is going to go to the other one on the other side. And if you look at the picture at step 4, very much looks like that of the black wire from the battery box go into there, go into the battery, and then the black wire here going elsewhere. And so if I take a look at this, see, here's where they get you to, is they tell you to put the wires together, but then they have you put the battery box on the board. In this situation with wiring, you know, trying to screw this onto here with the wires already connected, it's only going to really honestly get in your way. So I'm going to recommend putting these on the board. And all you do here is you just align it. You know, in the photo it shows the 3 gaps on there. You're going to want to take the smaller, well, actually the I guess, I don't know if it'd be the larger ones. And see, that's the thing too, is they don't really tell you which screws, so you just gotta judge. In this situation, you definitely want the battery pack to stay in. So I would use a long one. Now, in some of our previous videos, like, so these positions are hard to get in, you know, even for myself. An easy way to do it is just kind of hold your finger, but that happens. You can turn it, you know, different ways into it. I mean, I've even took it to where I'll take them and just try and put it in the hole like that. Issue there is you can't see, and then you can pick it up and kind of line. But it's not always the easiest to tell. And so I'm doing this one this way to kind of show you all how hard that can be. Reason being is for how I'm going to do the second one. And I'm doing this smaller hole of this now. If you look when you line these up, the bottom one is slightly bigger. And so what I do on this is just use the screwdriver. And so this is likely to be frustrating for younger children. It's definitely frustrating to me, but it's really just finding the best way to do it. And there's a different way that I do it than this one, but like this one's easy in the sense for all ages. And you can already notice the screw not wanting to go in. Okay, now I'm gonna look at this. Just trying to mainly see if it was gonna be too much of the screw to where I need to use the smaller ones. But yeah, maybe, but not really. That's not too bad. I don't think the smaller one would honestly have enough room to go through. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna take a piece of my, I was looking around for it, it's right there, a piece of my scotch tape, or scotch tape, masking tape, and just throw it over this battery. Lift it too big of a piece, just so that way I can kind of hold it on there a little bit easy and it don't keep falling out. But now, so you see how I use the one that came with it. You can also kind of hold your finger, you know, and I don't know how well you can see this. So let me try and zoom in right there. So you can already see that I'm having this alignment just a little bit too low. That should have been a little bit higher. So you can always hold your finger and go in and do it that way. It's a good way, but you have to really hold it tight. In some of our links, and I tried my best to put it in all of them, I recommend, and once again, we don't make any money off of any purchases that you buy of these kits through the Amazon links or any links like that. And so just to throw that out there, there is these packs of magnetic screwdrivers. Let me just, and that's the thing about this phone stand. It's very much hard to angle it and it keep its hold. So I'm gonna try and move my speaker over here. It's very very much it wants to just lean forward. Has like very minimal weight. So anyways, there we go, that's a little bit better angle. So these are magnetic. They're really awesome. I recommend using them. Let's scoot this over here. And so I can just pick up. And so it makes it easy for these screws and for younger children for sure, just because it removes a lot of the frustration. I mean, it removes frustration for mine. And they come with all the different sizes and stuff like that, and different, I guess you could say, tips. So it's very useful. I mean, for parents or, you know, for dads that do different work, it's an awesome thing to have as well. And then the kids can use it, kind of get that benefit. But if you watch this and how easy this is with it, I literally just put the screw on, and then it doesn't always stay to there, but I can align it up, and without putting too much pressure on it, see how much quickly that is. Now right now I'm having the issue that the hole for this screw to go through is a little lined. I've got it lined up to where I should have positioned these circles a little bit better. All right, so I went and done that ahead of time instead of wiring first. The reason being is, personally, I feel like it's going to be an easier way to get it. And so I'm going to zoom in here as much as I can, kind of keep a good angle on this. And so it had mentioned doing the heat wrap. Now, if you see on there, there's kind of two. I'm going to look at, because with the battery, it shows this black one goes to this one. Plus, if you look at the original photo, shows the battery pack up here, loop there. And so when it says heat wrap, it's talking about these little black pieces that come with it. I need to try and just start use these to hold. So it's a little black. It's like a little tubing. To be honest with you, these work well, but they're not tight to the wiring. And with this wiring being very thin, this is very much something you can slide on after. You know, you can use Scotch tape for the wiring. I recommend the masking tape because it comes off the wiring easier in the event that, let's say you finish the project, doesn't work. You know, you can kind of throw that on there. The mask tape comes off easier without messing the wiring. So what I'm gonna do here is, let me focus it back in, is I'm gonna turn it opposite of the picture so that way I can see it. Well, I might make it a little bit confusing on the video. But see, on these, like, you can easily just pinch this. Well, this one not as much. But you can, you know, much easier cut these, and I can just kind of twist it there. Sometimes you can just take like a little different way. The wiring should be long enough. This one's actually a little thicker on the plastic than some of them. These already have them pinched off. There's actually tools that I need to get that you can do that just a little, it doesn't clip it. But I'm going to take it in, and you know, essentially what we're doing is just going there, and then I'm going to use this. This comes with the magnetic screwdrivers. This one's just a little bit harder than I'm used to. And so once I got it through, I'm going to zoom this out here just a little bit. Once I got it through, what I've got to do is I've got to take this and, well, let me do this since it mentions using the heat wrap. Once again, I'm going to be putting mask tape, but just for the principle of it, put that on there. These things slide, and so they kind of get in my way. And so the wire that comes extra, putting it on the side facing towards the circle. So I'm gonna take that, put it through here, and see, this is where I wanted to try and pinch off some of this, but I don't feel like trying to pause and go get it. And so essentially you're just going to take it and bend. See, if the wire was longer, wouldn't have to use these tweezers. Essentially you just slide that over there. What I do is I just take that small piece of masking tape, and it's perfect enough. It's not going to catch fire or smoke. And I'm just going to take it and just put it ever so lightly without knocking it out right there on it, and just do something simple to where it's going to keep it on there. And I'm used to the wiring being in a much different position than angle wise, and so I'm just going to hold it up, try and make sure that I'm making sure it has a good connection. So as a learning lesson, you know, electric currents, if the wiring's too loose, you can not have enough current. And the masking tape is just, you know, like I keep saying, it's just very easy to take off. This on and off switch is definitely smaller than the ones I'm used to. Of course, the ones I bought were DIY. And then if you see on the original photo, they put the wiring on this side. The step 4, they take the wiring this way. So, and it's mostly for like laying it down. They took it like this. And so with that angle there, now I'm gonna go ahead and put this on, you know, over, since that's what it mentions. But these things just are so loose for how tiny these are. And so, well, wow, they actually, and so this wiring is very, very thin. It's gonna like branch out like that. So I'm gonna trying to smooth it and just hold it pinched wise, because all I've got to do, and it looks like I'm gonna have to come in through the back side on it, is just make sure that all the wiring goes through. Should have probably put this one in through first, but really that it's not going to matter in the sense of anything. Just a bit of better angle. And so I'm going to come from the back side, just because then I can just push it through there and try and hold it not too close, but not too far away to where, see, it keeps that. So you can always take it and just spin it. Just hold the end and spin. It's going to make it twist up together to where it doesn't, like, I guess you could say, fray out. My dog's over here just like not amused, chewing on her bone. And see, just gonna take it through like that. And see how long this one is? I can actually just pinch this to it, pull a little bit, and then take my wire and just spin. Well, I can keep that from falling through. And see, now imagine this had we, which I mean, everybody could, you can do it, you know, different ways. Imagine like how we've been doing the wiring before putting this box on. Then the wiring could have pulled and came loose. That tip keeps on give me some issues. There we go. And just with this one, I'm gonna try and hold it again. The wiring is so thin. And so, try and just hold this. And what I'm essentially trying to do is just spin this, and that on and off switch keeps spin it around, because if I'm taking if I take the black wire, I can spin it around easier, but this one's just not wanting to spin because of the angle on it. So grab these. Now I typically don't use these a lot. I just happened to think of it this time, primarily because, you know, like I said, these this on and off switch has got a smaller gap between there. And see, I'm going to just take it and then, you know, I just, and my on and off switches didn't want to stay through in there too well. And just kind of make sure I got the wiring on there. And see, it comes loose extremely easy. Just a slight pull of trying to get the other little bit around already took it off. All right, and so what I'm going to do here, it's the same thing. I'm going to take this extra piece of tape, go in behind it, and see, on that one I done it a little bit better to where and I can always take that and show how it would essentially go over, but like it fits over the tape. It's how much larger the heat wrap is, but that's teaching more of the principle of heat wrapping and, you know, electrical stuff for kids. I get that. It's also an extra, it's like their way of putting a way for them to keep the wires connected. But like I mentioned, they're very loose, and so I always do the tape. All right, so now it shows us taking the black wire and the red wire and putting it through that hole right there. And it shows it where it's going this way underneath, so just as a note there. Oh, come on. I'm gonna hold that with my fingers underneath. This one just looks like it just basically just curves around, but to help the wiring, I'm just gonna do this. See, that's that tubing is also there. Now I'm gonna push mine down a little bit because to keep it from just making it to where the wiring just pulls itself out. And by that I mean like the wire going through that hole, just causing the other wiring to come off of the post. And some of my wiring down there is just too all together to really be able to fit that over. But I've got that through. Okay, so now it literally stops there. It literally stops that there. So I'm gonna set that off to the side and see how that tubing doesn't really work out too well for us. So I'm already kind of worried that wiring's come off. But to kind of show you how easy, I can literally just, you know, barely pull that back, still there. this on and off switch definitely made it harder than what I'm used to. And so you can just kind of like take these, lay them down, you know. All right, so now to the next spot of what we've got to build. So the next one shows us building the walls. Now, here is my thing. If you look at that, step 5, it says install 2 plates, 2, and 2 plates, and has the number 3. I don't really see anywhere that labeled these. I mean, there's nothing that has the parts labeled. Now with that being said, you know, it shows that these are pointed up. They're not really a sense there. And then these are going to be the side. There's no remote control. Now the question is that they're decently the same distance here. So I'm just gonna, and with these I'm always let you know, be careful, put your finger right behind it and hold it this way and just wiggle, and then look down at it that way, because those little spots right there will break very easily. And like doing it this way, I've done that several times and just snapped a board. So on this one, I put it here and just hold it sideways. And the same thing, I'll be very, very gentle, because like they will break very, very easily. And then here, I can just do this and set it like that, being careful not to like loosen the other ends. And then just lightly give it a squeeze, and go back and check those. I mean, you can see this thing move side to side very easily. All right, so has that here. I'm assuming we just keep in the same spot. Now the interesting thing is, I'm looking here, is that it has us put that on there. Now it doesn't show us doing the bottom yet. It shows us working on that. So I'm gonna look around and see how much longer it is until we do the bottom. And it looks like the bottom's not gonna be there for a bit. Oh, there's not actually a bottom. My apologies. I was worried about the batteries. So it's got the circle now to where it's on the right, and it's got the on off switch towards the bottom. So I'm just going to take that here. Once again, be very careful with these. They can break, and I just try and line up as decent as I can. Try and find one, try and hold it down, and try and find the other one. Now the weird part here is it's almost like it doesn't want to fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that here, and I'm going to turn this way and try and set it in to where I can see everything. And these projects are a very, very good example of problem solving. The reason being is you have a hard difficulty with one thing, is finding a way to make it work. And see, some of these, it's almost like I guess you would call it a connector slot, is just too small for it. Now that also makes me curious. They all look the same size. So let's see here. I'm trying my best not to break it. None of these are just wanting to go in very easily. So I think what another part is that I was right, that I have the battery box a little too low. Because that's what I'm running into, is that I'm right up on the battery box. And that's almost like what's keeping it from being able to push in very easily. Because then here, if I look there, it's that. And that's where I was saying the top of that there was too far back, too far up this way, where it's almost like it was angled. And so it makes it interesting to see. Yeah, it was a little angled off there. Yeah, I think the measurements might just be off a little bit, because for me to get a good line up down there at the bottom, it better kind of overlap on the top, but overlapping on the top's not going to cause any issues other than just the screw fitting in. Well, it fits in pretty well right there. So all right, now let's try it. Oh yeah, it looks like it lines up much better already. But steel. These, I'm gonna pause it here. They're just not lining up too well, so be very careful with this part. And we're back. So let me grab a drink real quick. So I was able to figure it out. Basically what we're looking at is that either this is just mine, or, well, in short, they were, the pieces to go into the holes were larger than it needed to be to go in the slots. So I had to very, very carefully force them in. So if you're building this, be careful with that part. It was difficult. Just try and do it in a way to where you're not breaking it, and reinforce it when you push in any way or sense. But let's get back to it. All right, so we've got all that put together. It says install plate 1 on the base with 7mm coarse grain screw. What plate? Because it doesn't show a picture of it on that step 6. And then I had overlooked that it has them numbered. But I'm guessing that it's meaning this is the plate, because that's what it shows on there. All right, so the next part, it's going to have us put the motor. Now, if you notice on the motor, it has the metal part facing this way when it's showing it. So when it goes in, it looks like the wiring is faced. So when it has the picture of the wire, the metal parts, it's like this. It shows it standing up in there. Some gnat flying around. It shows it when it goes standing in there, to where the white piece is, gnats trying to fly in my eye. It shows the white piece as facing this way, and I can see that by the way when you look at step 8, the way the wiring goes that way and the white goes out. Now, it has this plastic piece on here. I kind of see it in the photo, but I'm noticing it's just hardly able to set. I think it's supposed to set over the hole. It's not supposed to go in. So I'm going to pull these through, and it shows the right side is the red and the left side as the black. So I'm going to start with the black, because in most senses of wiring, you always want to make sure you have everything grounded. And on these, let me see if I can zoom it in. So I'm going to make sure, you know, have it set. I'm going to put it through. On these, you almost want a magnifying glass to where I'm going to put it through, and I'm going to leave a small space. And just like on the on and off switch, I'm going to try and find a way to wrap it around. So what I've done is I've made a bend. I'm going to pin that down. And I'm just going to try and wrap to see how it comes off. So I'll just go back to it again. And it's all just about finding a way. I'm going to try it from this way. It's all about finding a way to where you can twist that wiring around it. And I'm having a hard time trying to see it just with the light glare off the glass. Glass works awesome for the video, but not so much well for the light glare for me. And my red fell through. And so what I'm trying to do is just get it to where I can get it through there. And then once I have it through there, pull that wiring and just see, this is where I would try and trim some of that off, get it longer. And I'm just going to take these, and this is why that other pack's so beneficial for the magnetic screwdrivers. I mean, you can use normal tweezers, and so and on this same thing, I put, you know, small strip of masking tape. Of course, again, personal preference. It just makes it easier to go back and be able to take it off. And so pull this through, slide that off, and see, these are extremely thin. Now granted, I could have probably kept that plastic on. So my recommendation is, if you didn't just do what I've done instantly with the video, keep that plastic on. You can use it for putting it through, but I can just take those and try and just twist it. So I can make it straight. Now if you notice on this one, that one's already wanting to come off. But if you notice on this, the wiring is it's a little bit longer, and both of what's already been took off, that's trimmed off the plastic. And so I'm just going to lift these up a little bit. Yeah, I definitely should have left that plastic on. The this RC motor, these are just a little bit smaller on those little metal pieces too, both in length and the size of the hole. And so I'm gonna hold my wire here and pull it so that way I don't pull it off of that or loosen it. I'm just trying to get it to go through without it doing the little fray. If I could put that back on there, I would. It's not going to be that easy. All right. So I'm going to take this away to where I can see it a little bit better, because trying to look at it at a distance is not making it any easier for me. All right. Let me see if I can manage to hold this. So once I've got it through, I can take this and just loop it around. And in this situation, I could always take the red and do it, but with the angle of everything, I'm just gonna try and bend this around. Now this part, what I'm doing, I'm just doing this because I want to make sure this thing works, because I don't want to try and pause the video, take everything back apart. And on these, typically, if I had electric tape handy, I'd go ahead and just take the electric tape and tape it down. But with this, having to change, I'm gonna just try and mash that up as best as I can, and then spin that red cable around it lightly without trying to pull it off. And then, of course, take my tape. On that one with that red wire, electric tape would be better, because with it being so long, it's not less likely to come off than the black one. And so I could just go ahead and stick that there. I've only had it happen very, very rarely that the wiring just came loose. Granted, with most of that being that I put the tape on there like this. And so on here, I want to try and get it from that underside and go right underneath it. Now, my tape's probably a little bit larger than it should be, but what I'm trying to do is just get that touching to it as much as possible. And then what I'm gonna do is take this extra piece, I'm gonna split it, and I'm gonna just tape these down. Typically with electric tape, that's what I'll do, is I'll just tape those down like that. But you never know what can happen. And also, I'm not for sure what I've done with my electric tape. All right, so back to the way it's supposed to be angled. And see, I wish there was a better way on that one. It falls through super easy. So now it's got us building the tower around it. Looks like it's just gonna be these. And so I'm gonna take this and if that's the angle, then so that's what gets me to, is that angle there. Because then now that black wire is not wanting to cooperate, and I'm worried about the wiring a little bit more now. So that tape's likely to get in the way. And so that's what gets me on that. Could have easily, like, let's say that we had assembled that together ourselves on the RC motor and put that in there. Could have been an easier way to get it to where the wiring goes straight. And so just line that hole up, put that in. Same thing on the other side. And see, goes through. Now the wiring looks better tucked than this. So here's what it is. And it looks like the top piece is just essentially there. Once again, always be careful with these. Very, very flimsy. And once again, either it's just with mine. Okay, I just had it a little too. Yeah, I had a little piece just break off there. And then it has this screw in, and these are going to definitely be the smaller ones. Has this screwed in. Top there. Now sometimes I will try and save extra screws to be able to use them in case that, you know, I tend to drop the screws and then they get lost on the carpet. But on this one, definitely can't sacrifice the potential weakness in the structure. Now I would, yeah, okay, it's got a picture on there at the bottom, basically just flipping it over and putting those in the bottom also. Definitely going to be the lower ones on those. This is where that magnetic screwdriver gets in handy, because like now, I mean, I could take it and essentially set it on here, but it's still just too tall. And so this magnetic screwdriver is going to make it. Now on this bottom part, I could probably save some of the screws and just do one in that top corner. And then do one in the bottom corner. The reason being is it just helps it. I mean, I can use all four, but if I can save some screws in case I lose some, definitely be helpful. Oh, that one didn't want to go too well. And yeah, I'm just going to do those. I don't know if how good the video is there, but I'm just doing that one and that one. On these, it doesn't feel like it gets tight. It just keeps spinning. Just as a heads up, ensure on those screws. And then, so next part, looks like we're going to be building the sides on. And install plates. Okay. So, looking at the picture here, just lining it up how it is. And it shows, I'm guessing, that plate. Nope, it shows the little smaller one. See, I could probably look at the numbers. And so on this one, we're basically just putting the two screws on the on here and leaving that middle one there, and it shows to use the smaller screws. So I'm gonna go ahead and get two of the smaller screws. It's typically the smaller screws I definitely need extras of half the time, but benefit there is it's easier to use one of the larger, I guess I think they're calling them the 7mm ones. It's easier to use those for the small one than try to just only have the small ones to use for the large ones left. And so just line those circles up as best as I can. And then get my screw. Come on, Nat. Yeah, I've got a lot of plants, and so I'm not going to tighten this one too tight, just because I still need to be able to line it up to the other one. Honestly, I'm kind of questioning the smaller one on this because I don't really know personally. It looks like it's going to be able to go all the way through, honestly. And so the magnetic definitely helps. Sometimes it can make it just as hard. In this situation, I just need to set that down. Just put it in like that. Only thing there is, and see, that's where I'm questioning the larger screw or not, because like this one is already, it was already tight, but it wasn't even into the board. Now granted, it has it as directions. I could always switch it up. I personally feel like I should, because it doesn't make sense to use one. It's like, yeah, if I set that beside, and this is the arm. So right here, this is a personal recommendation. This screw from the top of the board to there is just barely enough. So we'll see how it turns out actually. I was going to say let's use a long one because of this being the moving part, but at the same time, if the longer one just barely sticks through, it could hurt the movement. So we'll just stick to it, see how it goes. You can always skip ahead to the end of this video to see how it goes and then decide from there if you want to do the small one or the large one. Because I mean, even as tight as I can get it, it still almost feels like it's not. It still doesn't feel like it's even all the way through. And so trying to just make sure that I move this circle just as little as possible once I get them in to keep that lined up. Yeah, so I mean, once I can get it really tight with the second one in, it feels a little bit more sturdy. Then I've got to do the same on the other. So here's his a fun repeatable step. And so this is a, you know, just as a reminder, this one's the oil pump. This one's actually the last small screw I think I have. Well, no, there's one or two left still there. So this is that, the oil pump. And building this honestly applies to the, you know, obviously the oil industry and stuff like that. But there's a lot of the components that apply in other areas. I mean, building it, you know, different mechanical. But a lot of other things that apply to other areas. Yeah, I definitely highly recommend, if you don't have these magnetic screwdrivers, definitely get them. They are a extreme help right now for me. All right, so I've got that on there. Now, it's showing, it looks like it's on the back side of one of them. I don't think it matters which one. It looks like it says first put the punch shaft through the front of number 7. So, punch shaft, there's a very long one, there's a very small one, but then the other one looks like a nail. And there's 2 of those. And so the little punch shafts, I don't know if you can see them, but they look kind of like almost like a tack or a nail or however you want to call it. And it looks like I'm just going to be putting it through the back. Well, doesn't want to go in for us, does it? Yeah, it's not want to go through too easy. Huh. That's the, oh, so it's going to be, because it shows the top as up here. So we're going to take, I'm guessing it's one of just the small ones because there's only the large one. Oop, need to be careful. This is number 8. And if I look at the front side, number 8 is any of the small ones, essentially. Okay. So we're going to take that, set it down. And then metal bar and plastic. So what I'm going to do in this sense is, since it shows that orange one on the top, I'm going to take this, the punch shaft as it calls it, I'm going to grab one of my orange ones, and I'm going to go ahead and put that through. And then I'm going to take and put it through here, and then put it through that circle. Reason being is you know, it's the steps. And we put it, that's why. Put it through the bottom. I was trying to put it through the top. I just wasn't paying attention. All right, so now I can turn it. Does it say anything? It doesn't say anything about the other side. Doesn't really go through. I'm guessing the middle one. I guess there's I wonder if I need to actually put a orange one on the back side of this. I mean, I would feel like so, because I'm just going to need something to keep it in. But it doesn't say. It literally does not say. And so I'm going to put one on the back side here. See, it doesn't say. I guess it's just as you assume. Because I don't see how it would not need it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same for the other one. I'll do the exact same thing here with this one. And get another one of these. Grab that. No, hold on a second. I just noticed something. Okay, no, I done that one right. Done this one backwards. For some reason I was trying to put that circle on the other side. Alright, and the same thing. It doesn't say about the orange, but I'm just going to assume, because I mean, what's going to hold it on there in a sense? And so I'll just, you know, put one on the back side there. So it doesn't say it. So I would just assume it. Just because, like, reasonably to me, I mean, this ain't that, it's not that long of what goes through, but at the same time, what would hold it on this back side? You know? Because then if not, it's just loose. Alright. Now it's going to have us take this, install number 7 plate on the rotating shaft. Install number 7 plate. Number 7 plate on here is basically just this. Okay. Guess I got to just look right there. It shows it upwards. And so we're just taking that yellow part, or the white part, and just putting it in ever so lightly. Now, I can't fully see. Oh, okay, never mind, it doesn't matter how far. That makes more sense, I guess. I was looking at I headed for how. You don't want to squeeze these because there's actually a screw. It says the 4mm screw is going to be on both sides. I guess I'm going to assume that this is the last of the small ones that we'll be using. Because I see this one. And I see one more right there near it. Well, if I can grab it. But I'm only seeing one left, so maybe that's an extra one or something. I'm not for sure. And so on this one, be very careful not to have it too tight, just because of that being the moving part of the motor. And basically just tighten it until I feel a decent little tug. Put my finger there to hold. Decent little tug. Get the other one. And see, that's all I was mentioning with the that just fell. And so it's keeping it on there together. Now I don't see a way to figure how well that just fell off. So I'll fix that in just a moment. Alright, got it as tight as I can go on that one. Now let's see what happened here. Basically that orange piece fell off on the other side, so at least I know that that was a good thing to put it through. But I'm gonna now take this off. I don't even see where that orange piece went. That fell. So this time I'm going to hold it on both sides. And yeah, it fell off again. I don't think they gave any wood glue. That was somehow it was still staying on there. And so that's where I'm questioning some of it. Because those metal pieces are going to be the very critical part of the movement. So maybe I'm putting the metal piece or the orange piece on upside down in the sense that one side's smaller than the other. Or because it keeps falling off. Let's just try a different one here. If anything, if it continues to happen, I will just, I don't know, tape it. I didn't really see any wood glue or anything. But yeah, it doesn't want to stay on there no matter what. Huh. Okay. Oh, never mind, they're all the same. Okay, I was thinking there were some of those small circles that was thicker than the others. All right, let's see if that works. And see those little orange pieces being on there kind of just makes me question that how it's going to be able to all right, there we go. All right, next says there is 8 small round plates on each side. There's a plate number 10 in the middle. So plate number 10 is this one. It's that one. And it says there is 8 small plates on each side. So without reading through it, it looks like we'll be taking it like this and lifting these up and running the bar through. Now, is that the longest bar? Because it doesn't say. 7 centimeter iron shaft. So it doesn't really number it other than, so there's 2 of these, and by looking at it, I would say it's probably going to be that, because that's not even wide enough. So if there's 8 plates on each side, there is a plate on the middle. Okay, so I'm gonna put this through, and then I'm just gonna add, let's see here, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 or 6, 7, 8. That's the reason I was doing the 2s. So to see it visually. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. Still have some left over. I'm just going to take these and just put it on each side. That's what it shows. And then and then the same for the other side, so just going to flip it over and add these on. All right. And I can't really see just yet the angle of how this looks, so we're just gonna look at the initial. And okay, if you see there, it's got the point down, so I'm gonna do my best to not have these fall off. And I don't see that they put an orange one on these here, because it looks like whenever these are lifted up, It slides in. That's going to cause a lot of issues for me. And so I'm going to go ahead and throw on one of these. And just luckily I have some extra ones because either I've dropped some or just don't see them. So I already see this other one, but it's starting to slide off. I'm already showing that one in here. Slipping off. Okay, there they are. They slid up here and they fell off. Try and keep this from falling apart even more. Come on, Nat. I don't know if y'all see it flying around, but it just keeps flying at my eyes and my mouth. Dang it. Yeah, I think those metal bars there should have been a little bit longer for the ones that goes into that bottom part of the arms. That way it would have been, it would have stayed more on there. Because now I have to take these off again. Because it's going to be impossible to get that stuff through and lined up. And so I'm going to pause this here. All right, so I'm back. I'm gonna edit this. So what I see here is if you look at that step 10, it points the arrow at the top of that bolt, and it makes it misleading thinking that you want to put it in that direction. But what it's meaning is it's just basically pointing it there. What you're going to want to do is actually on this one, put it this way. So to where versus before we were putting it this way. It's very misleading in the sense. So it's very misleading on the sense of which direction to put that metal bar, and that's why the yellow piece wasn't staying on the back. It was because that the yellow piece was, you know, there's only been meant to be the one yellow piece. Now I gotta get this adjusted here. Well, it has this up. And I just put this together in the sense of originally being like that. So once again, you know, watch the video through before just doing it. Most of the steps are easily fixable. And so on this one, it's the same thing. I'm gonna put it through here. And then you're gonna take the yellow circle, put it on, and then put that through, and then the orange piece. The photo is kind of misleading in the sense of what way to put that silver bar through. And go ahead and get that on there, put this back together. Now in the photo it shows it a different way. I'm just going to raise it and see if me putting this in a different order is going to make things different. I don't believe it should. Yeah, this holds so much better already. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, like I mentioned, silver part is misleading. And everything. And let me tighten this up. It's got a little bit of a wobble to it. I don't know. It's a little wobbly. So I'm kind of questioning everything. So I wonder if I can just... Yeah, that's what it is. I need those orange ones. Much tighter. So now let's mess with this a little bit more. Because it's very loose. Which maybe it's supposed to be, but I'm seeing it loose back there. Which then again, you know, there we go. That's a good way to get it to slide, tighten it. Do the same thing here. All right. Just gonna make it a little bit tighter. All right, place that back over there so I don't lose those. And let's see here. Plate number 10 is fixed in the middle, and there are 8 pieces. Okay. So the next step looks like we're building the other tower. And so taking these, and see, I guess that also needed to be popped out. And just fastening it there. Same thing for there. Now in the real life world, you know, there's a good chance that, see what I mean? Dang. So now I've got to find a way to hopefully screw that in and hold it tight. I definitely need to get some wood glue. So definitely be easy on these. Should probably take these and screw it in itself before trying to mash it. So it's going to make a decent little difference for us. But I'm hoping I can just screw it in and it will hold if I can get the screw to stay. So now it's just getting the screw to stay. So I'm gonna have to just take that wooden piece that broke off, just take it out. If anything, I'll throw some super glue. But that's what I was saying, of how easy those things break. And it's been a consistent problem with this one, to where the pieces are much larger than the slot they're going in. So see if we can figure out a way to problem solve for this. Well, I guess let me just try it and get that one put in together so I can have a way to... That's what I should have done. I should have put the one in and then screwed. So that one's on me. but it wasn't one to fit in too easy. Now let's try not to break it any worse. See how I can figure my way out of this issue. Granted, luckily this is just a tower, but at the same time, it being able to hold itself is going to be a key thing. All right. Definitely might end up having to use some super glue on this. And why don't you go with the smaller one? And see if I can find a way to just hold it in position. Set the screw down in there. I'm essentially just trying to line it up the best I can. Yeah, I've done a decent little, yeah. Probably gonna have to get something to reinforce that. Because even with that screw in there, it's still gonna have that weakness. See. So let's grab some actual duct tape. I keep talking at a volume like it's my headphones that's gonna be doing the audio, just because I'm so used to talking through my headphones. So hoping that it's not been a quiet audio. All right. Now, let's see if I can just find a way to essentially rig this. And I'm gonna get some super glue for sure. Probably should have done the super glue, but this is quicker than trying to go find it. I mean, what doesn't duct tape fix? So I'm gonna take that, lay it into that corner right there after taping the top, and just wrap it up. And then do the same on the other side. Now granted, it's definitely gonna hold it a little bit better. And we'll see how it turns out. Again, be careful. They break easy. And then there's the little part here. Well, once again, now luckily this one's just enough spacing, but it's not wanting. Okay, that one popped in a little bit easier. Got lucky. Got a hair caught in the duct tape. All right. So let's go ahead and screw in that other part. Give us a little bit more obvious of structure. Give us a little better structure. I don't think there's going to be too much weight to make that worry. I can always go back in. Might just tape around that entire thing now at this point. And just tape around the screws. Just take that away with some duct tape. I'm gonna build it first, put it in before I do that. And at some point I gotta take another stopping and go get the cup. Forgot to grab that. cup was just weird of how it's set in the box with the whole pack. All right, so we got that done. Has us go ahead and measure and cut the tube. Looks like I'm gonna skip over to this part for this, just because I need to make sure that this is gonna sit well. And I noticed something here. Got that little spot that didn't pop out there. Let's go ahead and set that in there. And see, here's my concern is it's setting in correctly. This thing's making it so difficult. Try not to break those either, so, or make them fall off. Yeah, I've got to pull this. I'm having to manually pull that over there because of that. And I'm just going to work these side to side until I can get it where I know it's in there. And hold it like this too, just to be safe. See how I'm holding it underneath? See, I really need to be pushing. And that's what I don't get. This one I've never had some where almost every part is hard to get it to push in, because typically you can just hear that click. All right, and then we've got the smaller bar, and it says through circle hole and fix the two. See, it doesn't say, so I'm just guessing. And that picture's just so fine, I can't tell. I mean, it says refer to the picture above. Put the 4-end shaft through, okay, yeah. And fix the 2 ends with the fixturings. It says number 8, 10, and 13 of the circle. 8, 10, and 13. Yeah, 8. Oh, okay, it's just showing all those pieces to use. But see, the other one said exactly how many. This one doesn't, and so unless we just have no more of those to use, because after that step it'd go over here, doesn't give us a number, so it just looks like, yes, we just use the remaining of these. So what I'm going to do here is, you know, divide them up. Essentially, it's just 3 on each side, apparently. It doesn't say that. The picture's too small to really be able to just count. So I'm gonna put 3, and then go ahead and line this up and over, and it looks like it's gonna be, and yeah, there's where my, there we go. Oh, well, might be helpful to notice that I skipped to 13 and then went 14 and then went here to the 19. Oh, well, I don't know how much of that we lost. Give me a low battery thing. I'll try and charge it. I've got this through here. It's going to be a 3-piece. I don't know how much we lost there because didn't notice that notification if it's still recording. But I went from here, here, and then here versus it's up here. And so there's parts that we put in before we do that. And so I'm just gonna set that way. Take this pause to go get the stuff that I'm missing. And we're back. So I know earlier in this, now granted all this is gonna be edited down, but anyways, the power volume came on and I tried to explain anything that could have been missed. Well, I plugged it up, but didn't realize that my charger for my phone came undone, and then my headphones also died, so to charge it up. And then now my dog Pegasus is wanting a lot of attention and up against my leg, so she's now staring at me. I'd show her to you all, but I'd have to move the camera and everything. All right, Pegasus. So let's pick back up. So basically, I had went from here instead of there to here. Reason being is the worry of that bar. Well, now I need to go to here since I got that set up and everything, and go ahead and get all this. It's not bad out of order. I just needed to double check on that part. So let's see here. Now I do notice at step 18, it does have this pulled back. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that there. And that was the one thing I forgot, was to grab a ruler. I really wish these videos had a way to pause, so I'll just edit this out while I grab a ruler. And their ruler shows it as both ways. Mine's got it to where, you know, typical inches, top centimeters there. So let's go ahead and just measure this off. Says 3.5. And so what I'd recommend here, unless you got someone to help you, just take like a little Sharpie or a little, you know, Expo. Since I'm having issues grabbing those, I'm just going to do the Expo marker. And it says right at 3.5. So I'm just going to mark it. That way it's easy to cut, instead of trying to hold both and everything. Wait a second. I just noticed down there. See, I don't read the instructions as much. I typically just try and look at it unless I need to. It says that there's a ruler at the top of the manual. So I put the ruler right there. Very, very well way to put it, but I didn't even notice that before. I mean, may have visually, but didn't process it. All right, so let's go ahead and cut this. There we go. Hopefully I didn't mess up the tube. Scissors didn't want to cut too well. It says use scissors to cut out 4 or 3. 4 or 3, okay. Well, I guess I could have just done, that. Just literally just mark, you know, every 3. Don't read the instructions as much. I'm used to them being visual. So on this one, I'll cut just slightly in front of that one. Yeah, I gotta be careful with these. These scissors ain't too sharp. These are definitely my craft or plant scissors, I guess you could say. All right. So it says 4 or 3. I'm unsure of why it would say 4 or 3. And 1 30-centimeter long transparent catheter. And so let's see here. Get everything pulled up here that I'll need. And 1 30-centimeter long transparent catheter. So these are the water inlets. I'm guessing this is going to be considered the catheter. It's interesting. Doesn't really give them the names. I mean, this would be a syringe, I guess, in a sense, or I don't know. I mean, I guess the name is just more so. Yeah, so that would be the catheter, since we're putting that on each side. Now see, here's something I noticed. That last cut's a little short. Which, I look through here, doesn't look too much of like it matters on that. I've always got some extra tubing. Let's see here. That's probably that last cut from those lines. Yeah, I'm about 0.5 on that one, so we just got the bad, that one's got the bad end, so I'll just put it a little bit farther up, make up for it. There we go. Yeah, that should make up. Still 3.5. A little bit, just barely difference. I'd just be worried that that one's staying on or not. Well, it does show it going all the way down. So I just have to push this one not as far down and just hope that it holds. Yeah, the exhaustion's definitely kicking in. It's let's see here. Yes, 3:41 Eastern time. So then it has us put one on here. That one went on so much easier. There's actually a really awesome way to use these with different tubes and just poke holes into the side to do a drip system. It might be a good little, easy STEM video to do. For like different plant stuff. And it says install the 3.5 transparent catheter on the injection head, and finally install 2 check valves on both ends of the 3.5. Okay, so these are check valves. And it shows arrow facing, so if you look at these on both sides, you want to make sure that the narrow end is going towards, whoa, there we go. And again on these, just it shows to push it all the way down. So kind of just take it and wiggle it as much as you can. So this one would go that way. These it's almost like like this one is the first, which is the first project I've ever built with one of these, but very much of definitely the first on the wood for it to be, wow, that sucker does not want to go. Yeah, it's so if it doesn't go too far, don't worry. This one isn't either. It's a little bit more flimsy, but I mean, I can't force it. So I've got that down. I'll keep hitting that door stopper. Let's see here. Should be the orientation of the check valve should be consistent. Wrong elevation will relate to no water supply. So what it's saying there is like how it has that ring, the red ring. Let's see if I can zoom it in here. That red ring right there, you can kind of see on the ring up at the top is pointing this way. This one's pointing this way. And it says, oh, here we go. Accordingly to my observation, the water inlet end of the check valve is slightly thicker and the water outlet. Okay, so it's got the, thought that was something extra there. All right, so now we're gonna take the larger circle that was left and, well, where'd my boards go? Oh, okay, let's talk about this. So I should have put that one on here and then screwed it in. So we'll have to work carefully. So what I'm gonna do is just bring this closer. I'm actually stand up here to be able to do this. And I don't really see any of my small screws left, but one. And so what I'm gonna do on this one is I'm gonna go ahead and screw it how it sets. The reason being is that one, but what I wanna do is I wanna make sure I give as little pressure as possible pushing the screw down. The reason being is, of course, the broken side from before. And so I'm gonna hold my fingers underneath and kind of take off as much pressure as I can from the bars. And on this one, just go ahead and get the circles lined up. And I've got to be careful on pressure. Hate to break anything else on that. That one spot already creates a weakness, and then the bottoms weren't going in too well. At least this project has allowed me the ability to be more talkative. Some of it's just basically just showing it visually. I need to get a way to where, so I have, I've used Teams for my job. So yes, I have a job. I've been building this startup during college, as well as, building the startup, college, and then my job. But I know on Teams, there's a way to where it can do subtitles. Now, granted, the subtitles aren't always accurate. I can't talk. I am just tired. I'm exhausted. I'm relying on an energy drink, but I wanted to definitely take the time for this weekend and get this done. But the Teams will do subtitles, and that's something I'd like to get into these, because if not, I would just have to go back in and manually type the subtitles. Eventually, I would like to do an actual print off of better steps and notes than what these papers provide. However, with the videos, you can just rewind, listen, watch, and stuff. But anyways, let's get back to this. So I put those there, and then basically it just has us put this through here. And I don't see, it says first install the syringe on the plate and then install the plate on the plate. Oh, okay. So I've done this wrong. We were supposed to put that underneath the plate. Granted, noticing that now because I read it, but also noticing it because at the same time trying to prevent that leg from breaking. So once again, very good reason of why to watch this in steps and then rewind it and do it. Just because, for example, something breaks and I have to do a whole different thing. Or I can visually see something, but then just miss the fact of, miss the fact that, it has it in between. So I noticed the gap, but I just thought it was just showing the gap in the sense of showing how you put them on there. Go ahead and take the screws all the way out, because without seeing, you know, to see it lined up. So I'm going to turn these this way, obviously, so that way I can still screw those in. It's the other way, I wouldn't be able to see it. Let's move the chair without messing with Pegasus, who wants to lay right up on my leg, apparently, for something right now. And this is where the magnetic one is amazing, because I need to tilt this. Need to, you know, move that. Because, like, if I didn't have the magnetic, I'd be having to, you know, do all kinds of stuff to figure this out. Now, granted, I wouldn't be working on it like this had I not broke it. So let's see here. I think I also got bit by a spider outside, because my leg's itching. And I don't hardly ever get bit by mosquitoes. Which, that would be a really cool STEM project, is to see why, if I'm beside my younger brother, he gets bit and like absolutely ate up by mosquitoes, but I never have them mess with me. I hardly ever, I don't even recall anything of getting bit by mosquitoes. I mean, I know at least within a month back or so, my younger brother and I were working on my truck, and literally sitting right beside each other, and he's got like 3 or 4 bites by the time we get a part done, and I had none. So STEM project would be cool, or even a video to show, you know, like a video of that I find to show what would make what would make me not get bit by mosquitoes, but him get bit. And it's been consistent like that for our whole life. Now, granted, I would assume just, you know, potentially blood type, stuff like that, potentially. But anyways, here we are. All right, so do not block the screw hole plate. Yeah, okay. Next step, okay, Pegasus, go. You can't be trying to just crawl under my legs, sweetheart. I'll try and post a video into it at the end of her. So now it says install the hydraulic support on plate 1. Oh, okay, so basically what we already have here. I just had to do that ahead of time to make sure this would hold and snap in with everything broken on it. But one thing I did not do was put screws into the bottom. So, I'm glad I just happened to notice that. Let's go in and put in the screws. Now on this one, instead of 7 screws, I'm gonna put all 4, obviously, because it's, you know, broke. On that one, granted, I don't see it being much of a difference for that, but just to be safe. This is where things get different, you know, different than the paper. Once again, because I broke that one, and I had to make sure that it was still gonna be able to hold without having to do a whole retape. Plus, also, I don't see, other than this piece, I don't really see why I would do all that and then put this on versus just put it on and then that, you know, do this piece without it already being on. Ah, come on. This one's not liking me. And just putting my finger right here on the back side for support. And on this, I don't know if, you know, it's a decent reference, but like tires, you know, you kind of do the start. I do that on this just so that way I don't screw in one side too tight, pull out the other side, and then have a whole issue. So like think of it like if you're looking at a square, you got the top there, and then you can see the other one there. Kind of do it that way. I don't really know that it matters, just something for me personally that I do. I have noticed that it does help, because there was one time I just kind of done everything in order, and it messed things up. And these projects honestly are the perfect way of like problem solving and innovation, because like for example, I broke that one piece and I had to problem solve how to fix it because I don't have an extra part. Now, one thing I do want to get into, because I have a 3D printer behind me, I want to get into printing these parts. The reason being is extra parts to have in the event that they break, you know, or for example, I don't know that legally I could sell this whole thing, but like small parts of replacements I could do. Now, granted, you know, somebody to build it, but I guess also you could just take cardboard and then just put duct tape around the cardboard. So there's another problem solving innovation thing to where, like, let's say that you're building this right now and had the same thing happen and the piece broke. This gnat is literally just, I don't want to kill you, just please go. Cardboard would have probably worked to me in sturdy wise, but duct tape, you know, put cardboard, popsicle sticks, duct tape, and then just poked a hole through. But all right, now I've got to put, and see, here's the thing too, is that where I already had these let me look at the picture here. Okay, so yeah, I was thinking it had to hang over. All right, so now back to this piece. Basically, it's just 3 and then 3. And so I'm gonna take this and just go ahead and slide it through here, since there's not really a better way to do it. And then take these 3. And of course, I'm having to do my own little innovation thing here due to the issues created. Well, let's see how I can figure out how to get this to work. Only thing I can see is one at a time. Problem solving. Well, yeah. So, issue then becomes that I had to do it this way. So, if I were to think through this, I would just put this once again. This is where that wireless or the magnetic pack comes in handy. All right, come on. All right. So I need it just long enough to get that on, but enough to where it won't So in this part, my video is going to be different than the paper, obviously, mainly due to, once again, breaking that part. I wanted to just be like, okay, I'll just pause this. What I'm going to do is actually show how I'm going to figure it out, because the reason being is, let's say that you broke the part also. Let's show the way to think through stuff, and that everything can be difficult. So I'm kind of curious of what I could do here, because I know I've got to get okay. I can't really put my fingers in there too well. I'm also having to make sure to keep it on. If there was a way that I could just hold all three with this. Let's try it. I feel like these are just gonna ricochet everywhere. Ah, close. So I got an idea going. Ooh, I got a better idea. Okay, so the three fall apart, right? So they fall apart when I'm trying to put them in there. So, take them. I'm gonna use the zip tie to make sure I keep them lined without tightening it. And then I'm gonna tear off a piece of tape. Why? Well, if I can keep the three held together, it then creates an easier position for me to be able to pinch them. So, that door stop. So let me zoom in here. So I'm just gonna take this and then just cut to give me that strip, because this won't mess with the function of it. Essentially, they're just there as a spacer. Make sure I still have the solid hole. Now, granted, I can't do that, but I can take this and push that through. Oh, well, not the best idea. Screw got stuck. And one of them almost came off. So let me just add a little bit of tape back. Like I said, these things are amazing for figuring out like some type of problem solving. Definitely when you break something and have to do things out of order, to where it makes something so simple so much different. See, now the thing is getting it just right. Because I'm gonna have to just take it and there we go. Now it's just lining it up. There we go. See? Just gotta figure it out. All right, now, I guess it looks like 3 in that picture, but I'm out of them either way, and the other ones are solid, so And I need to definitely start trying to save up or buy just extra one of these. That one's there from something. I don't know what it came from. Maybe they gave just one extra small screw, one extra spacer. What happens if I need 2 extra spacers? So these come in packs of, I want to say this one came in a pack of 5. Could have potentially came out in another pack. I don't know. Don't really recall. And I want to make sure as much as possible get these even on each side. I don't really see much too of a difference. This is not changed too tight. Alrighty, awesome. Still curious of I want to keep that from the on thing from falling through. Well, I guess now don't really matter as much. I just gotta take off the tape without pulling those wires off. Guess I should have took that off before. Just happened to notice it. Now I am gonna take this and put her on the side, just because then let's say if this thing falls over. So I should have probably done it in the get-go. Honestly surprised they didn't give whip glue. Alright, wires still look good down there. Alrighty. And so there's a gap of 1 millimeter between the fixed strings and the plate. If there is no gap, the movement resistance will be increased. I guess that just means make it as tight as possible. Okay. Now it mentions oh Lord. See, here's the, I'll be restricted, so make it a little bit tighter or a little bit looser, is what it's getting at. Give it some free movement. Why is this not wanting to? Well, I guess, see it's showing shows these straight up, and then step 20 shows this even, like directly even. So I don't really know. There we go. Huh. Okay. Yeah, so I just gotta turn these up this way. See that? Turn it up straight. And then get that even. And it says fix the syringe and plate with tie. So I'm curious as to how they figure that, because I don't really see a way to just put it straight through there. Oh yeah, there is, right in the corner. That's crazy. So I'm going to take this through, and then right underneath, I actually drilled a little hole. Bring it through. I've got extra of these if need be, if something happens. Alrighty. It doesn't say being number 8 is fixed in the middle, and there are 3 small circle plates on the left and right, and then step 20 doesn't say to leave a gap or anything, so we shall see. They did give us an extra one, but may need that. But like I said, I have extra ones of these. All right. So now we are done with that one. And we'll be going to the next. Real quick, before anything, I'm gonna go ahead and put in the batteries. Hopefully these ain't dead. Go ahead and put the batteries in at the bottom, just because you gotta lift it up. And, oh, this is interesting. Yeah, the batteries didn't want to go into it good. Oh, well, it's already starting to work. Nice. So at least we know it works. All right, so now we're on the second pamphlet. And try to get this as much there. All right, so I'm gonna take this and curve it into this one. Interesting concept. After it's already on here. Trying to be very careful. Wow, that one went much easier. It has it go. Oh, mine's going to be a little bit opposite, because you got to make sure to have them. Okay, install the upward end, yada yada. At this point, the left side of my check valve is the left side is my water inlet, and the right side is the water outlet. So, let's see. And so it has it looking just like mine, where the rings are here and here. So left and right. And then install a 30 centimeter transparent condensate at the outlet of the check valve. So the right side's check valve, left side's check valve, or the left side of the check valve is the water inlet, right side is the water outlet. Install a 30 centimeter transparent, basically the tube, at the outlet of the check valve. The water outlet is the slightly thinner end. I wonder if I was cutting from the wrong end then. And that would explain the other of how it was difficult to get those on. But basically, let's go ahead and measure this. And let's go ahead and measure this out. Put it just a little bit over, just because of the fact I'm going to be cutting. We'll look at these. I mean, they both look the same. Okay, so just gotta get my marker ready. Ooh, okay. So I kind of overcut those somehow, because this one isn't, I knew I'd overcut them. Even though I put it as absolute close as possible, I'm just slightly shy, but I don't think that's going to matter in the sense of the length, since we're not actually trying to measure a distance of reaching something. So let's go ahead and get this on here without trying to break anything. All right, that one's a little bit harder to get on, because it says the water outlet is the slider thinner end. I don't even know. Yeah, they're both having these things do not like each other in general, because it literally shows it go all the way up. It's almost impossible without potentially breaking something. So I'm just going to say, I mean, now granted, I wonder if just wetting it would have helped, but there we go. Okay, as good as we're gonna get. Surely it ain't got enough pressure to pop those off. If it does, ain't like it's gonna miss much. All right. Ooh, okay. Now if you notice, it's gonna have us take this up through here, which then, trying my best to make sure I'm not gonna hurt that weakened frame. Now look, when we take it that way, our rings then flip. Put a 30 centimeter transparent catheter through the catheter hole. Okay, wait, okay. Earlier I was saying catheter, wondering what it is. So, and then, oh, it's got the 2 cups. So let me go grab the other cup real quick. So I took a bunch of these and set them at my parents' for events. I live 2 hours from my parents. And so now I understand why there were just 2 in there. So here becomes, yeah, I figured something like that would happen. Better that than the, got so scared. So, come on. There we go. I'm gonna try and push this up in here, potentially give it some support. All right, because that's like, without being able to push those all the way in, this is so much longer to where it's creating a very questionable situation of that being in there, and then it's also pinching that, because I can't push these all the way together. It's literally been impossible. So my only thought would have been, it's like maybe got a little bit better. It would have been maybe, you know, watering it and making it to where it's able to go. Alrighty, so we got that there. Put the plastic cup into the cup holder slot of the plate. Put the water inlet of the check valve into the cup. Finally installed the battery, already done that. But yeah, the ring's facing upwards now. It's interesting how they have that, just a blue cup of water. So let me see if I can just lower this some. Yeah, it's gonna be a better view. I'll unplug my phone and then I'll hold it here. So here's my question. This also, even with missing a few, is still not as long as it shows. So this would be one of those situations where we just improvise and bam, which makes more sense. Do notice that there are two curves like mine, but without trying to force this in here and risking breaking, yeah, I don't see it going through there. But I'm gonna use the little Bluetooth wooden speaker from previous videos, and let's get some water. Luckily, I've got a jug right behind me that I use for my plants. So, ooh, it filled it all the way full, so we'll just fill it all the way through full. Now my question becomes, you can pump it in there. Wait, why would I want to pump? Why would I want to pump this into here? Put the plastic cup in the cup holder slot of the plate, then put the water inlet of check valve into the cup, and then finally install the battery. The pipes at the water outlet are installed, and at this end the cup is naturally the water inlet. Take a cup of water from another cup and pour it into the trough. So basically okay. See once again the pictures. So it shows it of putting it in here to know measurements and then pour it in there. So see, I would want to build a thing that'll hold this. And now for the moment of truth. Just getting the air through. And if you look, see how it's coming out? But watch right here to where that's going up. So I'm noticing that, and you can see it moving through. Now my thing here, let me stop this. My initial thought is that when this started, this should have been much lower, as low as it could possibly go. Or, for example, these are not giving us as much pressure as we need due to the gaps, and that one down there's got like a slight pinch in it due to sew and bending. But anyways, it is working. Now I wonder if it's also, I guess the gravity has a effect into it. Yeah, because now it's doing it much better. You can see it's doing it much better versus up higher. It's gotta take more power. See, there's a sense of doing this in a way of gravity, to where if, let's say, that, I'm gonna be careful to do this, I were to take this, I don't know if you can see that, but see how much the higher it's giving a more, it's giving a longer pour out. It's hard for me to be able to fully show that by using both hands. It's about the same, but there we go. Oil-filled pumping unit after one issue with materials breaking. It's going a little bit slower. Yeah, I can definitely see This is moving. It's not got the best support to it. So I do see that. Batteries may be a little bit weak where I reuse these, but we have everything completed, and that is so cool. Now granted, I wasn't, you know, expecting it to just completely do this super quick, but I wish there was a way to pump it back in. Now granted, I could just build another one, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause this on it moving. But before doing so, make sure to follow us on Twitter at, well, here we go. Constant issues. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Tennessee Future Innovators 19. You can do a Google search for Pure Legacy Future Innovators and find everything. We've got a bunch of other videos already up, and we'll have some more soon. I wanted to take I had originally wrote this out all before and then reorganized it for order, and it just so happened that one of the ones I wanted to do potentially misplaced it. It looks like it's doing a little bit better when it's under that water. I don't know. So I'm trying to think of something cool, maybe a DIY, like an actual DIY build out of just not a kit, but like build my own thing for the next video. So stay tuned for more. Definitely like, subscribe, and follow, and check out the links to Real Life Unboxing. My buddy Jerry has amazing products that could be very useful in literally any type of category you could look at purchasing at a store. And you can get discounts on those as well. Alrighty. And I guess here, since I've been talking a lot, I'm going to put it, Tennessee Future Innovators' mission statement is to engage, educate, and advance the skill sets of tomorrow's future innovators. Have a wonderful day, and as always, be innovative.